Dear viewers, wherever you are, hello and welcome to this special interview through Canadian Spectrum Media, CSM. The month of July is beyond any doubt the supreme Canadian month. During the first day of July, on July the 1st, we celebrate Canada Day. And on July the 1st of 1867, the Fathers of Confederation convened together to create the Canada Dominion, or to create modern Canada as we know today. And because it's a brand new country, and it's consists of people from all different walks of life and all different cultural and ethnic backgrounds, every now and then arises the question, is there really a Canadian identity? Or is just Canada a mix of heterogeneous, not even homogeneous, groups of people? To shed more light on this and to know more about it, I'm really delighted today to have an extra special guest. And she's outstanding in many different aspects. She is a very honorable citizenship judge. So all citizenship judges are very much honored. But again, she is a woman, which gives her an extra status as well. It's something I, as a Canadian, so proud of, that Canada is a country of full equality between all genders too. So we have a woman that holds such a special and such a delicate position like herself. And she is not Canadian born as well. She was an immigrant, and she's still a first generation immigrant too, from Lebanese origin. And it really gives me great pleasure to welcome the very honorable Judge Rania Sfeir. Thank you very much for being with us tonight in this program.
Thank you, Mr. El-Hadari, for this beautiful introduction. Thank you very much.
It's a great pleasure having you with us here. There are two, general systems or paradigms of citizenship, if you like. One system that talks about a melting pot. So you bring people from Italy, from Jordan, from Japan, and from Brazil, etc., and you just put them together in a blender. You mix them or you melt them, and then you have an alloy of the new citizenship made of this mixture of all, or you have this new cocktail of them all mixed together. Now, the other system, or the other way of doing it, is the system that Canada adopts, which is the salad bowl. So if I'm making a fruit salad, making it of, like oranges, apples, peaches, cherries, blueberries, etc., I'm putting all of these together in the salad bowl. They are together in one salad bowl, but each one of them keeps its private identity. Canada follows this system, but a lot of people are warning us today that, like lately in France, there was a book published called The French Archipelago, which talks about France being an archipelago of many separate islands here and there. Or many people are warning us that Canada might become just a group of separate islands or ethnic silos. So you have these different silos, one next to the other, but they are, totally disassociated completely. There's no connection between any of them. So a lot of people are seeing that, like the Canadian identity is in jeopardy, really. And so how do you see that? Do you see really the Canadian identity is in imminent danger because of these silos and of these archipelagos that people create?
First of all, Mr. El-Hadari, I think that we are a strong and united country because our differences. Our diversity is makes our make us rich, make us a rich country, make us diverse and multicultural, and it's a very, very good thing to this country. And it has been proved all around for many, many years. It has been proved. About the small separate islands, I agree with you. It could be a risk, but there is a role that the citizens themselves can play and the government as well can play to avoid this to happen when one community of one ethnicity live together and they are not willing to know the other ethnicities and know the culture of the country and to be open to learn about others. That makes really this situation dangerous a little bit to the country. Canada tries, especially the government, for these things not to happen. So there is a role that the governments can play. There is a role that the small governments can play. Because if you notice, these islands could be in big cities, but could not be in the countries, in the areas, in the
suburbs or countryside or like
exactly, the countryside. But in the big city, sometimes people feel that they are lost. And this is why they have the option to go to these islands. There is a role to be played. The citizen have a duty for this, towards this, and the country, the government has a duty towards this to avoid this to happen.
a lot of people blame the Canadian government for being too lenient, just too open for refugees, because to them, refugees create a lot of problems, and they create a lot of chaos really, that destroys the Canadian fabric on many areas of life. So to start with, first of all, the cultural part again, like most of those refugees would resort to these ethnic silos, to these ethnic ghettos. On the other hand, on the economic side, many people came here as skilled workers. They went through an extremely selective process to come here, and then when they come here, they might change their careers, they might go back to school, and they pass through many different phases until they are finally settled. Some of these refugees might have a bigger income than those skilled workers, might have more support than those skilled workers. And at the same time, they're absolutely ungrateful. They feel that Canada's not doing anything good enough to them. So a lot of people now, because of the cultural aspect and the economic aspect, are considering refugees to be a time bomb, really, that might explode in everyone's face to destroy the Canadian fabric. How do you see this, Honorable Judge?
We cannot say all refugees are like this. It is not like a general case. We know that refugees in the world have different stories. Every refugee is a refugee for a different reason. We know that some refugees were obliged to leave their countries of origins because it was not secure anymore. We cannot have a general case for all refugees. Some other refugees abuse from the system, yes. And I would not say no, but not only refugees. Some Canadian citizens abuse the system, and it depends on the person. It doesn't depend on a general case. Some people, you can do a lot for them and they will never appreciate, and some other people have nothing and they appreciate a lot. It depends on people. I would not say that it is a general case. Every person should have the willing to work, to be someone, to give back to this country. if he really believes in this country. But how him to believe if he is not convinced, and from the beginning he was abusing? So some people are like this, some people are not.
And another extremely important aspect here, a lot of people accuse Canada of being like, just too bombastic, like, it just talks about it's the land of the dreams and so on and so forth. This is what it advertises, but when people come here, they are bombarded by incredible impediments, things that will hold them back. You have to go back to school, you have to do this, you have to do that. But I was a person with a lot of experience in my country of origin, or in the place I was working in. I was making like this amount of income, or like I was living in this kind of house, or I was a manager, and now here I'm just starting from scratch. Some people say that the Canadian government just lies about people, just to bring people here, because citizenship or like immigration is such a lucrative process for Canada, because Canada wants money from them. And yeah, like how can you reply to something like that?
First of all, the Canadian government never do advertising for Canada. First of all, we have a website where very, very clear. Unfortunately, Mr. Al-Hadari, a lot of people don't like to read. All the details are in this website. Let's say when a lawyer or a doctor in his country decides to immigrate to Canada, first of all, he wants to know if he will be able to work as a doctor or as a lawyer. So he contacts the right department, either in the government or in the, I don't know, the government will give him the right number, or on the website these days, any number or any contact in any organization. So he can contact directly. How can I work in Canada if I am a doctor coming from this country? And they will give him the information, the right information. So before to come to Canada, it's very clear that some specialties or some people with some specialties should go back to school and study again to do the equivalence of the diplomas, and then the person will be able to work. But if people don't want to read and they want to make their own idea about what is Canada and what Canada is offering to them, and they come and they said, oh, I cannot work, and Canada lied to me, and Canada gave me wrong information about my work here, it's not Canada's problem. It's because he didn't listen, and he didn't ask, and he didn't read. It's not Canada's problem. Canada does false at publicity or advertising. And today, by the way, Mr. Al-Hadari, and it's happening every day, and since many years it's happening, a lot of wrong websites are pretending to be the Canadian government, and they are giving wrong information about how to immigrate to Canada. And they are making people paying a lot of money and into some like gangs. I don't know where they are located. Every time it's in a different country. And these people pretend that they are the Canadian government, and they are giving wrong information about Canada. People unfortunately believe because they want to believe this way. They never verify that it's not the website of the Canadian government. There is only one website for the Canadian government. Yes, and it's .gc.ca, and it's very well known, and there you can find all the information.
Absolutely, and unfortunately,
all other information, unfortunately.
This is unfortunately a very common psychological tactic that humans deal with, which is what we call psychological projection. So instead of saying the problem is in me, like maybe I'm just too reluctant or too lazy really to study or do exert the effort, it's always the other, blaming the other, always pointing the finger.
Always.
So always projecting my problems on the other, the government, the system. And
it's easier to blame the other.
Absolutely. last but never least, it's a very, very important question, which is the true meaning of Canadian citizenship. Um, like, is a Canadian somebody from a specific background? Is a Canadian somebody who spent a specific number of years here?
People from all origins, people from all backgrounds, people with different ethnicities, people with different skin colors, different beliefs, different social class. And we are, as I mentioned at the beginning, we are strong and united because we are all this mixed. We are this beautiful fruit salad that you talked about. We love humans, the environment. We want to live in peace. We want to live in harmony. We want to respect each other. We want just to give back. We want to share what we have. We want to share our knowledge. So I think we're doing well. But we need people to believe more that this is what we should do. People who were here before us, worked very hard to raise our country to a very, very, very high rank. And they set the bar very high. So now it's up to us. And every citizen in Canada should take this responsibility that now it's up to him to work, to give back, and to set the tables for the next ones. Because there are future generations coming, future generations of Canadians growing here, and future generations of people coming from outside. So we have to prepare the table.
Well, Judge Rania, I can't really thank you enough for being with us tonight. And just a quick reminder to everyone, I'll try to summarize what Judge Rania said. And before you just make a very arbitrary, judgment, and you just prejudge, based on, like when you make a judgment, it should be based on facts. And so when you're saying that Canada wants, to bring immigrants because it's a lucrative, aspect and to make money. With all respect, like Canada is among the richest nations on this planet. It's among the 7 most industrial, most advanced countries in the world. It's among the top 3.
Absolutely.
For the highest standard of living. So it's just absurd and preposterous, really, to say that Canada is looking for money. Because it's one of the least things that Canada needs, really, is money. Canada is such a very rich country. It looks for human wealth, intellect. It looks for human intellect and skill. This is the kind of richness that Canada looks for, and not the financial, richness here. Canada is always a pioneer in peacemaking and peacekeeping, in accepting differences, and like we always say, we are very strong, because of our differences and not in spite of them. At the very end, Honorable Judge, I cannot find enough words for you giving us this time, being with us here, and thank you for taking the time. And again, just a side comment, which is, I think, a very important one. I'm talking to you from Anglophone Ontario, and you're talking to me from Francophone Quebec. And that Canada is by nature a pluralistic society. It's never a country of one voice. I personally came here as an immigrant through the Quebec immigration problem, but I'm living right here in Ontario. What more freedom and what more diversity can there be in such a beautiful country? Thank you very, very much for being with us tonight, and would really look forward to having you again as our most honorable guest. Thank you so much, and
it is my pleasure. Thank you very much, Mr. Al-Hadari.
Thank you very much for being with us again, and thanks to our dear viewers, everyone, Canadian and permanent residents, people who might be watching us in other parts of the world. This is Canada. And like our Prime Minister said it before, actually, I'll have to, borrow this from him. He said, Canadian is a Canadian, is a Canadian, is a Canadian. Always remember that. A Canadian is a Canadian. Be proud of it and work hard for the betterment of this beautiful country. Thank you very much, everyone. Until we meet again, take good care.